All right, man. Let's talk some Lions draft talk live 2 days in a row. I know people thinking this must be a miracle. Ain't been doing too much draft coverage this year, man. I ain't got time to sit down and look at everybody and get into detail. And then a lot of times it don't be worth it neither. Um, Without having the rights to the footage, people just don't care without seeing, the actual footage. So that's why I chose not to do it this year. Do the draft spotlights. There really ain't no point to it, quite frankly. But yeah, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We go live or drop video financially. Want to support the channel? Cash App $ CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal link in the description. Hit the link tree. Find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Appreciate everybody for tapping in on the video. You can listen to this easily tomorrow on Spotify around 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. I'll share it on Twitter. I'll share it on Instagram as well too. I left Facebook, so yeah, I just deactivated my Facebook page. I was thinking about deactivating Instagram too, but I'm like, no, I keep Instagram and Twitter. So I left Facebook. Not sure if I will be coming back, and just didn't right now. Just was no point. Um, so it is what it is. John, what's going on? Dubs, what's going on? I appreciate everybody being in here. So, yeah, there's some questions. I mean, that's gonna be answered, man. I've been so out the loop. I don't even know when the draft is. When is it? When I was growing up, it was on Saturday. I remember it used to be on Saturdays, man. I used to get a pizza or make some nachos, some chicken wings. Yeah, it's April 27th. I used to get that type of stuff and watch it Saturday and Sunday. To be honest, I liked it better being on Saturday and Sunday. Um, I don't know, maybe it's just a nostalgia of what it used to be, but I liked it better. Get up on Saturday morning, you watch the draft all day. Then you probably get into some NBA playoff games, go back and forth and stuff, and Sunday you come back for day two. I like that format better, but everything is in the NFL. They have no morals. Everything is about money, and that's one of the reasons they say money is the root of all evil. And they want to put it in prime time, and now everybody want a piece of it. Um, the NBA kind of drafted in prime time for a while, but I liked it better on Saturdays. Um, but it made more financial sense to have it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the thing I do like that they did is now it's getting an opportunity to move around. I think it's in 2024 to be in Detroit. Not 100% sure, but Brown Holmes kind of explained that he taking talent over need, to the point where they don't have a draft board. And we're gonna talk about some prospects or whatever, and kind of what they kind of need to do from a standpoint. Right now, the big news is I don't know if it's a smokescreen. This smokescreen season. The big news is that right now the Houston Texans are actually thinking about drafting Will Anderson. Give me 1 minute. They're thinking about drafting Will Anderson with the number 2 pick. So yeah, they're thinking about drafting Will Anderson with the number 2 pick. And obviously, I don't. They have the most picks in the draft. Um, and they said, well, they think they can get a quarterback at number 12. I don't know who's gonna be there at 12, and if it's Hendon Hooker, I mean, obviously, Peter King is saying that's the feeling that he get. You got to remember too that the thing about Houston is they have a former Patriot that's in their organization that's running their organization right now. Nick Carciano, whatever, and he sucks. Obviously, I don't know if he really like Tanner McKee. I don't know if he really likes Hendon Hooker, but obviously Hendon Hooker is older. Not the greatest arm in the world neither. Good arm, but not great. You have to wait on him. So I mean, at 12, maybe they feel like they could take Will Anderson and move back up and get capital. But you're hearing that Will Levis is working out for the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, it's a perfect fit, just from a culture standpoint of view. They said they stay on code. They're in the rest of the NFL with whiteballing out. Lamar Jackson said they wanted to draft a quarterback. So when you get up there and look at what's going to happen, if this story holds out to be true, you're probably going to get CJ Stroud going number one. If this is true, with Anderson number two, and the fun starts at number three. That's where the fun starts at. Now, apparently, I got some inside information in Houston. I'll leave it at that. And I heard Bryce Young, they didn't had him there about 5, 6, 7 times already. And that's who they originally wanted to pick. Now, what's changed? I'm not sure. I'm gonna just go ahead and just say it's a smoke screen, but let's say it's true. Arizona then is where the draft starts at. Arizona is going to be the hottest team in the draft because the Raiders are going to want to move up for Bryce Young. The Indianapolis Colts may move up for Bryce Young at that point. And then, Houston, you say, well, with Houston, I mean, what can they give? Now, think about all the Houston picks, unless they're going to force the future. They got Cleveland 12. So they got a 12th round pick. They got a number 12 overall pick, 33rd second round pick, 60. All right, second round. They got 1 second, 2/3, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, 2/6, 3/6, and 2/7 plus a comp with a comp 7. So how aggressive is Houston going to be in trading up? And this all affects the Lions, by the way. How aggressive are they going to be in trading up in this draft? It is the number one question. How aggressive is Houston going to be trading up, right? And then I want to talk about this too. Put this in my to-do notes. At 3, does the Lions get do the Lions get in on? Do they get in on and think about moving up for Bryce Young? That's a great question. Do they get in and think about moving up for Bryce Young if he fall to 3? That's a great question. Does the Lions get in on this act and say, you know what? We really like Bryce Young. J-Mo vouch for him, and let's trade up to 3 and get Bryce Young. So that's one thing. That's one thing that that might need to be asked. So, do they get up there and they say, well, maybe we got a guy I really like. Do we move up and move up for Bryce Young? So, I mean, they can out firepower Houston. Yeah, Houston got 2 threes and 1. We got 2 seconds. We got a couple picks in the future as well too. So, I mean, to be honest, you can beat Houston. It ain't like they got a whole bunch of players that's going to change the game. If the Lions wanted to, do they get in on the fun and move up to 3? Let's say Will Anderson don't go to. He that 3. Do they say, well, we like Will Anderson so much we move up to 3? I don't know. I would tell you there is a drop off. There's a drop off outside of Young, Anderson, Wilson, Carter. After that, as far as there's a drop off in this draft. There's a drop off. But we have some questions amongst Wilson and Carter. Wilson got a foot injury, might be the best athlete in this draft. Carter, we know his issues. So when you talk about this draft, so once we start getting and talking about that, I mean, you got to decipher it. And let's say in some insane universe that Anderson, Young, Wilson, Carter or Carter is gone. I mean, I think it's a drop off. And if you had to ask me, if they said, well, CJ, you have to stay put at number 6, what would you do? To be honest with you guys, I would, if I had to stay put, I think I would go ahead and take that Devin Weatherspoon kid. I'm hearing he the best corner in the draft. More, you see, Christian Gonzalez, bigger, more interceptions, better program. But I continue to hear that this Weatherspoon kid is the best guy in the draft. Aggressive, play with Kirby Joseph, obviously. Better in zone coverage than Christian Gonzalez. Just more aggressive, slam, hit you. But it's Apple, it depends. Lions play a lot of man coverage. But Weatherspoon just, seemed to be a better at play recognition. But to each his own. I think at that point, if you told me I had to stay at 6 and pull the trigger, and those guys were gone, I'm probably gonna go with Weatherspoon. Now, I also like the Murphy kid, which it seemed like he falling a bit. I also like him, big, athletic, um, rangy, strong. I like him a lot. I like this tape a lot. I liked him a lot. I don't want to disrespect him. Kind of put you in the mind frame of a great value brand, Tyree Wilson. Um, Wilson is just a little rawer than Murphy, but Wilson's coming off that blind side, and he just do things that guys that big shouldn't be able to do. Quite frankly, but Miles Murphy, long, athletic, I if you end up with Miles Murphy, I couldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad. Miles Murphy is going to be a really good football player in this league. And if you get that value at number 18, I mean, he might be a star. I definitely wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if they took him at 6. That's how much I do like the kid. But obviously, I would drop down and get him. But yeah, I would think, Weatherspoon, Gonzalez. If you had to make me stay there and pick Joey Porter Jr., love him. Now, I don't care if he ran a 4.46. That's still pretty fast. This Kalija Kansi, the smaller guy from Pitt, only issue you got with him is, kind of getting pushed around a little bit in the run game. We know we kind of struggled, especially versus Carolina last year in the run game. We struggled, and can you get him to the point where he can stop the run? That's the question. Can you get him where he is going to be stout at point of attack and stopping the run and not be a liability on the inside? If that's the case, that's the only real question about him. A lot of people like Maisie Smith made some issues in his career. Khalid Rango, he's falling. I think he might be one of them dudes that maybe end up transitioning into safety sooner than later. And I like the kid from Jalen Hyatt a lot too from Tennessee. I like him a lot, the receiver. So, but yeah, nonetheless, not to get too far out of there. But yeah, I think that's the move. But at the end of the day, if I can move down and I can still get value, that's what I would do. But obviously, Jalen Carter is the name. He brings a need and he brings the talent. So he checks 2 boxes, even though we may be tired of seeing them continue to take defensive linemen. We seen the Carolina game. I'm gonna get to your questions in a minute. We seen the Carolina game, okay? And last year we passed up on Jordan Davis. This kid is a little bit more mobile than Jordan Davis, okay? But he's kind of where, even though they don't have a depth chart, he's pretty much where a need meets a talent. But mentally, there's some issues there, and one of the things you worry about taking linemen that high, it's not extremely high. Wasn't Dan Wilkerson like the number 1 pick in the draft one year? Uh, you know, but one thing that doesn't really concern me, it might concern people saying, well, you look and say, well, he only getting 3 sacks a year. But you look at the tackles for loss, 8.5, 7, even as a freshman, 3. You look at those numbers and you say, man, that's phenomenal. For him to be that big and to give you 3 sacks, I mean, The one thing you like about the kid from Pitt is that he get more penetration, he more athletic getting up the field. But the thing about Carter is you just need, you hope Anazor can come back and be able to give you that pressure and that twitchiness up the middle of the field. But you kind of need him at the point of attack to kind of be all purpose, get back there, stop the run, get a sack here and there. So, I mean, very talented guy. Very talented guy. So, like I said before, I mean, work ethic, character. I'm always, but one thing you get concerned about guys being that big is, make sure the thumbs up button is if his character becomes an issue, um, or he becomes lazy, he goes from being 310 to 323 to 500 pounds, 400, almost 400 pounds, then it's like, dog. So that's why you kind of tread water. And it's been a lot of, them interior linemen that's been bust. What about the kid from Mississippi, Ole Miss? He's supposed to be, really, 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 really good. Um, Robert Nkanichi or whatever. He did nothing. Had some issues, and you give a kid that much money, I just think there's issues there. So he said next month is huge for the NFL with the draft, NFL schedule. It's huge right now what they doing to Lamar Jackson. It's really huge what they doing to Lamar Jackson. They're going to figure that out because there's some things that came out that's crazy. He said I want Bryce Young. Bryce Young ain't dropping towards. He ain't getting past 3. Word, Houston will take Anderson, trade back the 12 pick for assets, and trade back in the first round to get back and get a quarterback. So they had 3 first round picks. I don't see that happen. I don't think they got enough firepower. I don't think they got enough firepower for that to happen. So you saying they'll take Anderson, trade back the 12th pick for assets, and I don't see them having enough firepower. Especially with picks, unless they start talking about trade next year's first. If Bryce go to Carolina, then Texas go Richardson and Levis. Stroud is an agent. Agent is Deshaun. No way he goes there. I think I don't think Carolina gonna go for him. I think Levis is gonna go to Indianapolis. And apparently Seahawks haven't worked on Anthony Richardson, so I don't know. I wouldn't mind us trading for Lamar, but we should draft one of these quarterbacks instead of waiting. Yeah, they've been waiting for a couple years now. Bryce is there. I think you got to take a chance. He said, "I'm telling you guys right now, if you try to take a receiver, I don't see him taking a receiver at 18. The only receiver worth taking at 18 is when I seen other than I haven't seen the BC guy. It's Jackson Smith or Jigba. That's it. And that's the only guy worth it. If not, I could wait to take that higher kid from Tennessee. And what did that kid run in the 40, by the way? That's a great question. What did that kid run in the 40? The Jalen Hyatt guy. He ran a 4.4. Is that a 4.4 flat? Let me see. What did that kid run? He ran a 4.4 flat. I can definitely see that. That kind of matched the game tape. Suyu say I missed the Lions live. They need to get rid of Bagley, Wiseman, Killian, triple lefty bum, 6 mile JMO stand up, Lamar here. So I really wanted the team to have a guaranteed pick, Jalen Carter. If he's there, because Drew Rosenhaus said which teams, which means there are more than one. Philly would take him because they lost that kid to the 49ers. It's still the best player available. Pick your guy number 6 that can fit style of throw football team. I don't know what you meant by that. They already loaded at edge. Go for dynamic quarterback at 6, or Bijan or Jackson Smith at number 18. Holmes is good later round. Draft the field. Think about about You can never have too many edges, especially when you got guys that's getting older like Julie. You can cut a lot of those guys and be good. Romeo, Charles. You can still cut Romeo, Charles Harris. You still can cut Julian O'Core. You can cut a lot of those guys and make room. You can never have too many edge rushers. Trust and believe me. He said J-Mo is not on board with what we're doing. Of course he's not. That's why Jared Goff had his arm around him in that picture. What's up, Benjamin Foe? He said Jared Goff ain't it. I'm sorry. I mean, people think he is. I mean, last year he had a good year down the stretch. Ben Johnson had him in it, had him very comfortable. But he's one of them dudes that rely on the run game. That's to get him in rhythm. You know, and that's why I say Bijan Robinson is pretty good. But I'm gonna hold off talking about the 18th pick for a second. Hope Holmes can get Lamar. That's not happening. We kind of wasting our breath on that one. He said, both players on Georgia had over 7 sacks in 3 years. They rotate a lot of line. I'm concerned about his conditioning even before the pro day. I mean, I guess you could say that, but then the Lions got a lot of players they could rotate in too now. So you don't forget Aiden Hudson can play on the inside. Pascal was drafted to play inside and outside. Still got Isaiah Buggs. You still got Lee McNeil. You hoping Levon and Zorky come back. Probably wouldn't rule out if Brian Brees dropped to the second round or something like that. So the Lions got a lot of depth across that defensive line. They got a couple guys that can slide on the inside, so it's definitely risky. It's definitely risky. Robert, what's going on? It's definitely risky when you're talking about a human being that big and having issues, and especially when you got the ghost of Nick Fairley hanging over this franchise and what he did. So that's something that's something to think about for a minute. If I had to right now feeling how I'm feeling, if I had to do this, man, I probably would just move back. If it wasn't Bryce, if I wasn't gonna take Anthony Richardson, and I'll get to all that. If it ain't Bryce, how I'm feeling right now, I'll probably just move back. If I'm not sold on Richardson and it ain't Bryce Young, how I feel right now, because of Tyrese Wilson foot injury too, and that scares me, I would literally just move back, bro. I would move back. I would be that guy that would move back. I'm just getting more and more uncomfortable about Carter. I probably would be a guy just how tomorrow I could feel a completely different way. I will move back. Um, teams that's candidate to want to move up. Obviously, Houston wants to get back up there. Maybe we could talk with Houston. Maybe Philly, would want to move up. Tennessee need a quarterback in the future, possibly. Now, I'm not sure how much they believe in Malik. Atlanta Raiders who want to move up. You keep going down. Don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. Washington will probably want to move up. Not sure how many picks Washington got in this draft. Status quo. They should be sold by after the draft, unfortunately. So, some of these dudes, these teams may want to move up. So, but yeah, that's my feeling of it. But if I had to stay there and I didn't get a quarterback, I probably would just take the best corner. I would probably just take the best corner. I think they need to start develop for a number one corner. Look for Pat Bender's son BRB. He said Jalen Hyatt cannot get off press. He is not a laterally quick. He's super skinny, only productive because of the system. I gotta take your word on that. He'll forget James Houston's a free agent next year. I take your word on that. You can always scheme up guys like him. You can scheme him up. You can put him off the line, bunch him up for free releases. So guys like that, you gotta hide them, but you can't hide them. People forget Houston can play inside linebacker. He's going to be a breakout player on the team, but he's a free agent once the year over with. I don't think you really worry about that right now. But yeah, continue to talk about I think it get interesting when you start talking about 18. I don't think we take a tight end. Hopefully not. That's always a bad omen for the Lions to take a tight end in the first round. People look at the names of the tight ends that the Lions got and assume that it needs, that needs to be filled. I like Zelstra. I like Brock Wright. I like what James Mitchell gonna bring. I think they make a nice blend of tight ends. Don't forget thumbs up the video. I think they make a nice blend. So I think you pretty set at tight end. So I don't really consider that a need. I think at this point, looking at the players behind them, I mean, let's say you do take a corner. I think at this point is that Kalesia Cansey guy from Pitt still on the board. I think you might want to find a way to get him. If you don't take one there, I'm not a fan of Quentin Johnstone. He sucks. He only can catch with it. He not that good. I just leave it at that. He got a lot to work on. And my thing is, could you move back up in the first round and still end up with could you end up with the Kansas kid and Bijan Robinson? Those are the two guys that I think that you spotlight. I like Miles Murphy as well, but we pretty good at edge. Maisie Smith, played at Michigan. Brian Brees, was really good before the injuries. People say. So my thing is, what's the next biggest drop off from running back? What's the drop off look like? And kid from Alabama, Jahmyr Gibbs. A lot of people like him. Smaller guy. Zach Charbonnet, like him a lot. But more of a, he kind of can do what what's the kid name? David Montgomery pretty much do. Two bigger backs. This kid from Texas A&M is pretty, kind of undersized, pretty fast. 4'3", 188 pounds. Can he hold up in the trenches is the question. Last year, he had 196 attempts in the SEC, 1,102 yards, 8 touchdowns, and was a problem in the receiving game. And he extremely fast. So obviously, with DeAndre Swift, with David Montgomery, Justin Jackson, whoever back there with him, I think that's somebody you probably want to take a flyer on. He could be like your Darren Sproles. This kid from Tulane, shout out to New Orleans. Didn't run the 40, but he's productive last year. 229, 1,581 yards, 19 touchdowns, 22 receptions, 256, 2 touchdowns through the air, 18 reps, 390. He didn't really run the 40 though, but another smaller guy. But I do think obviously there's a drop. Once you talk about kind of the overall draft board, and let's just say in my mind, and everybody can be thinking something different, right? You get to this 18 spot, you ask me, talent wise, out of the guys I know or studied, Mayer, Robinson, Cansey, Johnstone, Murphy, Addison. I know him a little bit. Kind of underperformed at the time, but I know Brees, Maisie Smith. Cam Smith is another guy. One of these guys. You just say, in the talent in the vacuum, who I believe is the most talented is Bijan Robinson. Just laterally, what he can do laterally. Straight line speed is plenty enough. It's not the fastest. I'm not sure what DeAndre Swift ran. I think he was a 4.4 guy. I think Swift played faster than he ran, and I'll give him that. I think he played faster than what he ran. Especially this year. It seemed like he got faster this year before the injury. It seemed like he was always he ran a 4.4. It seemed like he was always getting caught from behind. And I know Deuce Staley with some other people point out he was making some Joy Bill before he left World Sports point out he was making some mistakes and giving some of the defenders angles on him. But this kid is talented. But before I kind of talk about him a little bit more, you talk about Can I get value at that position later in the draft? Can I get a Jahmyr Gibbs? What is he compared to him? The Devin kid from Tech. What is he compared? Do I have value there? And then think about the other positions we talk about. There's value behind him that you can move up behind this Kansas kid that you can get. Now, are they the pass rushers that he are? Absolutely not. So his talent make him unique because he can get after the passer. So, and like I said with Miles Murphy, you got a bunch of them on the team. You say Quentin Johnstone, he catch the ball with his body too much. He doesn't high point the body. He doesn't play big. He's not physical. He's not physical. So, I mean, at the end of the day, these are two unique talents. Two unique talents. And Michael Mayer, you know what I'm saying? Very talented guy. Came in as a grown man as a freshman, came in as a grown man there. Physical, big body, but I just can't see us taking the tight end now. Is he talented? Absolutely. One of the most talented guys in the draft. But if you had to tell me, which one that in my opinion, I think, and not saying you never know who's gonna have the best career. That I think is the most talented here is Robinson. Now the question is, can you get back in there and get this Kansas kid? That's the question. If you don't take Jalen Carter up here, you take a corner, or could you move down, get some picks, and come back and get him? That's the question. Even if they want, do they want him? And I'm pretty sure, the Aaron Donald comparison, and Brad Holmes know better than anybody if he like that. So I think the pick come down to these two guys, and I think, can you get back and get one of them if you swing and miss? Can you come back and get one of them? It's the question. But if I had to pick, and you say take a corner before, and it's hard for me not to pick Kansas. I'm telling you, it's hard for me not to pick him, and I wouldn't be mad either way they went. But I'm just gonna go with Robinson. These quarterbacks are very, these running backs are very important, and I just can't hinge my scat back or my speed back or my all-purpose back on DeAndre Swift. I know what Montgomery gonna give us. A terror on the inside, break some tackles, catch the ball pretty good. But I just think from an electric standpoint of view, I want some security with or behind DeAndre Swift. I want some security there. And I think it's so important to Jared Goff that he has explosive weapons. Losing DJ Shark, he got to have them. Now, and talk about receiver, from what I've seen, haven't seen them all. But talking about receiver, I think this kid's the best. And people say, well, he's a slot receiver, and but this guy stay open, and I think he can succeed on the outside in the NFL. When you was as polished route runner as Jackson Smith-Njigba is, the body control, the foot contortion, baby, get his feet in bounds. I'm a huge fan. Smooth route runner. And I think it'll kind of be the equivalent on a lower scale of getting him in like it'd be like getting DeAndre Hopkins, on a lower scale. That's what I think. It'd be like getting DeAndre Hopkins. He can find a way to get open. Now, can he survive on the outside? That's the question. The question is if that's the case, you take Jack Smith-Njigba, he need time to get ready on the outside, right? Are you comfortable enough with Khalif Raymond on the outside, Cephas on the outside, Marvin Jones on the outside? Or is it time, or can Amar Rye, can he take the next step of playing on the outside and being dominant on the outside? That's the question. And that's why a lot of people probably kind of gravitating to that Johnston game, or Johnston, whatever they call him. It's probably what they gravitating to him. You see the size, you see, the potential athleticism, you see the vertical. But the question is, I mean, you look how big he is. His whole football career, it tells you what type of football, what type of high pointer he is. He got a 40.5-inch vertical, but he don't have a lot of red zone touchdowns. He should be a much better player in the red zone. He doesn't high point that football. He catches it with the body. He waits till it to drop in the bucket and alligator arm catch. It's a lot of issues with him, man. Can you get him to be a hands catcher? He's a developmental guy. He checks all the physical tools. He's a developmental guy. When you're talking about somebody that's polished and can get in and out of breaks smoothly, Jackson Smith-Njigba. You know, and I think he can be successful on the outside in this league. I really do. Alex, what's going on? So I can see him taking a running back in the third or fourth round. I don't think you can pass up on that talent. I don't think you can pass up on this kid talent. It's just too much talent there. Laterally, in the straight line, and Jared Goff is predicated on the run game. If you're going to depend on DeAndre Swift again, this season is going to be an epic failure. I'm telling you that right now. If your explosive players are going to be DeAndre Swift, Jameson Williams, Zestra, and James Mitchell's offensively, you're not going to do what the Lions need to do. That's it. DJ Shark was very important stretching the field. Marvin Jones don't get, even in his prime, Marvin Jones didn't get the separation that DJ Shark got down the field. It's a fact. He doesn't get that separation. So you lose DJ Shark. Once again, you're going into the season depending on DeAndre Swift. So you are dependent on DeAndre Swift, who's always injured, and Jameson Williams coming off an ACL injury, who don't like the quarterback, to be your explosive home run guys. It's a recipe for disaster with Jared Goff. He needs as many explosive weapons around him as possible. And you got a kid here who got good size, who will form a nice 1-2 punch with David Montgomery. 1-2-3 with long as Swift stay healthy. He's the most talented guy there. And if we talking about best available, he's best. You know what I mean? Where is his true holes at? You talking about the Kansas kid get pummeled in the run game. You talking about production, almost 3 years, over 1,000 yards. One of the years he had less than 100 carries and 703 yards. Need somebody to catch the ball? Guess what? Hey, he can catch the ball too. Well, what ain't to like about him? They want to devalue the running back, but Daniel Jones was a nobody until Saquon Barkley got healthy. Right? The 49ers wouldn't have been in the playoffs without trading for Christian McCaffrey. They're alive and relevant, and, very, very relevant in this league. You need them. Cleveland was able to tread water off Nick Chubb for the most part. You need them. So you start talking about somebody, he probably one of the most, he's talking about just in a vacuum without diminishing position. He's probably the most talented guy out there. He's probably the best talented guy out there. Physically, you give it to probably Anthony Richardson, him, Tyree Wilson. They in that top 3% in the draft was just, phenomenal. One first round of phenomenal talents. 215, 5'11", catch it, run it. You need it. You can't sit there and say, oh, we're going to wait and trust DeAndre Swift again. That's just insanity. You know the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results. And I'm telling y'all, they go into this season and that's they explosive players. Mark my words, every expectation you got for them will fail to reach. They will fail to reach. Mark my words. You with Jared Goff, you got to load up on athletes. On guys that get explosive and chunk plays. You have to load up on them. He's the only gripe I got with Bijan. He's too dancy behind the line. Sometimes he doesn't have the elite home. I mean, he faster than DeAndre Swift. At least 40 times. He's faster than DeAndre Swift. When a 4.46 stop becoming fast, though? That's the question. He's faster than, I don't know what Brees Hall ran last year, but he faster than old boy. Barry was dancing too, but then again, that's Barry. To me, he looked plenty fast enough. And let's not act like the Big 12 ain't produced a great running back last year in Brees Hall. You know, that's Brees. He faster than Swift. At least in the 40. And we all know that's the 40. And he bigger than him too. So it ain't like you got somebody that's small and you know got good speed. I mean, he big with good speed. With elite lateral movement, I can't even call it just quickness, agility. It's just, I mean, this dude out here gliding when he cut, when he run. It's effortlessly. And he's strong. I'm not sure what Brees Hall ran last year. Let me see. Let's see. Just for good measure. He ran a 4.439. And Kenneth Walker ran 4.438. I mean 4.38. I don't understand why neither one of them went higher. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that, bro. They was two of the best players in the draft, but I understood it, but I didn't understand it. New England proved golf, drinking, and dunking don't work. Correlate. Jamal Williams shut us out. Said Bill Belichick has got golf number. He has a great. He can't read defenses. As simple as that. And then the Lions went up there injured last year, so sound like Jahmyr Gibbs. He said, plus we were injured that game. They double team Hawkinson. We got shut out. Bijan great though. He uses energy when he cuts, and he can utilize the 4.4 speed for real. He reminds me of LT. I could kind of see why you say that. TCU, Texas. He's from Tucson, Arizona, though. I can see why you say that. You know, yeah, he I could definitely. I mean, his ability to cut is phenomenal. But let's talk about Anthony Richardson. I think we talked about pretty much everybody in the thumbnail. I could be wrong. Give me a minute. I could be wrong. I don't want to miss nobody. I don't want to do false advertisement. Make sure we got everybody. Yeah. Yep. So this is one guy we didn't talk about. A lot of people like the athleticism. A lot of people talk about the numbers and all that, but a lot of that had to do with I seen some drop balls. I seen some drop balls out there, and you look at the numbers and people point, oh, his numbers wasn't that great, and he's not a finished product. And if somebody get in there and they throw him in there right away, I just think some things need to be cleaned up. Hell of an athlete, but you want him to be able to learn to play the position from the pocket first. You don't want him to get out there running the wing tee, running the option and all that shit. You want him to be able to get back there when he hit that back foot, let the ball rip. You want him to be able to go through progressions. They say he's great at anticipating windows and throws, so that's something to work with already. Got a cannon for an arm, fast, athletic, but all that look good. But the $1 million question is, can he retain the information? That's the $1 million question. Can he retain the information? Can he retain the information? Can he process fast? That's the question. That's the question. Carter not gonna be speeding in Detroit streets. Why? Because of the potholes. Gibbs will be a better fit for Lions. He gives them a real Jamal Charles vibe. One thing about him, he's small as shit. And then too with him, Played behind. He played in the Alabama line. How many Alabama running backs been successful in the NFL? Derrick Henry and who else? I can't think. Like who really been big time? But he fast though for sure, and he can catch that bitch for sure. Phenomenal in catching the ball. Fast as shit. Fast. He's fast as shit. But one thing you worry about them Alabama guys, they got the best of everything. So how really good are they in the in just in the vacuum in the league? That's the question. That's the $1 million question. How good are they in just in general? You know, you like seeing the speed, you know, but Robinson is different, dog. That Bijan Robinson kid is just different. Some of the things he can do just cutting the ball. And I like Jahmyr Gibbs too. I like him. Yeah, I mean you can't go wrong with either one of them. But I just think I just see Robinson. He's just a stud. He can just do some things that other running backs can't do. You can't teach the shit that he do. Yeah. You can't teach the shit that kid could do, bro. It just can't. It's natural. How come teams so quick to move off black quarterbacks but let Daniel Jones get endless chances? Hope Anthony get a fair shot. Yeah, they're gonna be trying to switch his position to receiver like Terrell Pryor shit. Got running backs. Kamara, man, Kamara don't count. Kamara don't count. Stop it. He made his hay in Tennessee. Lacey trash. Josh Jacobs trash. He had a good year last year, though. I ain't gonna lie. He had some good years. Josh Jacobs. It's really Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry. That's it. I mean, how dare you try to claim Alvin Kamara though? That's hilarious. How dare him try to uh how dare he try to compare how he try to claim him? That is hilarious. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. He said a lot of owners don't want to be involved with racial politics with black quarter. That's why I usually come with the black quarterback racial They create that. They don't want no black person being the face of their franchise. That's just what it is. These are old racist NFL owners, bro. A lot of these dudes grew up and they grew up in racial times. I ain't trying to. Mark Ingram is okay. He ain't nothing to like. Oh shit, Mark Ingram. He's a great running back. He's solid. That's just the era they came up with. You can't unlearn what they learned. And then again, a lot of them ain't never sat down and really talk to black people and understand the code. They don't want to. When you old, you stuck in your ways. That's why they came out with the saying, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks." That's why they came up. Give me 1 second, y'all. That's why they came up with that. That's exactly why they came up with that saying. DT starting that bullshit with the peak hour rates. I should turn my heat off. That shit 50 something degrees outside. The way my heat bill was looking, I turned that shit clean off. So, but yeah, that's just it's a disconnect. You never had a it's kind of like you hear comedians talking about. Well, I had white friends and I went to my white friend house and it was a culture shock how he talked to his parents and I would have been that shit real. Like a lot of them don't have nothing they don't know nothing about the culture. Nothing about it. And don't care to learn shit about it, to be honest. So at that age. So that's the problem with it. Yep, that's the problem with it. But But yeah, it's crazy. Mark Ingram top 10 rushing. Let's let you know how bad it got. Anthony Richardson's receivers are not good. You got to remember the best player in Florida don't play there no more. He a better prospect than Josh Allen coming out. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see that. And I think a lot of people would have liked to see him stay a little longer or whatever, but he didn't. He didn't. But yeah, I mean, you gotta put all that in there. But a lot of people, somebody gonna bite on just that physical and that raw talent for real. Somebody gonna bite on that raw talent. Somebody gonna bite on that raw talent. And why wouldn't you? But the Lions did, I think a lot of people don't think about it is, I think they think it'll put unnecessary pressure on the kid and Jared Goff. That's what I think. I think they think it'll put some unnecessary pressure on Jared Goff. If I got any questions, I'll answer them. Um, but yeah, I think that's what they. I mean, but hey, it is what it is. But he turned around. He turned around and he become a superstar. People, Lions fans, gonna be looking at Brad Holmes stupid. That's the reality of it. He take Jalen Carter and he turned out to be a bust. People gonna be blaming Brad Holmes no matter what they record say on social media. It's all gonna come down to Brad Holmes. That's the truth. People turn around and Richardson be a bust and you take him. A lot of people gonna say, "Why you take him? He was a bust. Look what he did in college. Nothing." But you got to know he can process and retain information. That's the number one thing. The quarterback position is about how quick you can process and retain information. You can defense and all that. Knowing defenses, reading defenses, and you got the stomach for the position. That's the question. If you ain't got the stomach for the position and do it, can't be a leader and you don't know defenses. It's gonna be a rat. So I think great quarterbacks are just born to play the position. I would love to see the quarterback that look like me in Detroit. Martha ain't going for that shit, or whoever it is. Sheila ain't going for that shit. I hate that we have a quarterback that has to be spoiled in order to play average. He's not a real leader either. All that rubs me wrong. I don't know if he's not a real leader or not. I can't tell, but it is what it is. If he won the Super Bowl here, won't nobody remember nothing but that. Who would you take? Who would you not want at 6? Will Levis, maybe. Will Levis. I mean, who all you got there? Hold on. It's a great question. Yeah. One of them days, bro. Hold on. One of them days. It's almost Friday. In my mind today was Friday. CJ Stroud, not a fan. That's about it. For real. Anybody, no tight ends. So yeah, ain't too many prospects I don't like. I like Young, Anderson, Richardson, Wilson. Other than the foot injury, kind of scare me. Carter, maybe I'm kind of leaning towards no one Carter for right now. But and obviously I don't need an offensive tackle right now. I wouldn't take interior guard. I like the guard that could be a tackle though. That kind of enticed me a little bit, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, it ain't like if Anderson falls, like you gotta get him. Some too many question marks up here. I'm not a Stroud fan at all. I love Young. I love Anderson. Solid. I like Richardson's potential. Wilson foot scare me, but I like him a lot. Carter, them guys that big kind of scare you. They got issues. We trading up to get Bryce. They trade up to get Bryce, man. The buzz is gonna be bananas around Detroit. The buzz is gonna be bananas, bro. Hold on 1 second. The buzz is gonna be bananas. Only thing that's gonna kill that buzz is if the Lions win the draft lottery, the Pistons win the draft lottery. That's the only thing that's gonna kill that buzz. For sure. That's the only thing that's gonna kill that buzz. If the Lions win the draft lottery, I mean the Pistons win the draft lottery. Brad Holmes probably going best player available. Yeah, I mean, and that's in his opinion. We can speculate and say who we think the best player available is all we want to. But it's just our speculation. I mean, when nobody knew who the hell Josh Pascal was last year. You know, some people go look at some people go look at highlights and then say, oh, he's pretty good. And them highlights, everybody highlights good at this point. Everybody highlights good at this point. And I know it remains to be seen, but I think it was some guys. I think it was some guys there that I think it was some guys there that may turn out Jaquan Brisker. I mean, I know they got Kirby Joseph, so I mean, you really can't say. I mean, they could have really used George Pickens. You know, honestly, could have really used George Pickens. So I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what type of player he come out to be. Last year, you couldn't really judge him coming off the injuries. You know, he was injured all the previous season in college. So I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. He said the excitement it will bring to the city and golf fits well in Houston. Oh, I ain't trading him. They ain't gonna trade golf if they get Bryce Young. They probably gonna let Bryce sit behind. I think Bryce may need to sit and build his physical strength up to be sure, but they ain't doing that. You can mark my words. They ain't drafting no Bryce Young. No matter how much sense it makes in our head. They ain't drafting no Bryce Young. You can bet your pretty penny on that. So we can go back all day. They ain't drafting no Bryce Young. We wasting our breath. They ain't probably drafting no quarterback in the first round. If he do draft a quarterback, how fitting would it be for him to draft Hendon Hooker with a blown out ACL? Brown Holmes like players that's injured with blown out ACLs, don't he? That's his preference. It's like some dudes just like girls with big titties or big booties, whatever, or light skinned girls or white girls or dark skinned girls. Brown Holmes is like ACL injured players. That's what he like. What would you do? What would he said? He said too. You said what would Goff have to do to be considered a better Lions quarterback? Win a playoff game. Shit, he won a division. He better than him. Let's call a spade a spade. He won a division. He better than him. And I don't care how weak and bad the divisions it is or what it seem like on paper or no Aaron Rodgers. Shit, he won a division. He better than him. Put him in the ring of honor. They gonna put Stafford in there, ain't they? Put his ass in there ASAP. For sure. For sure. He said not going to happen, sadly, but he said not going to happen, sadly, but man, I think Bryce would be crazy dynamic. He would. On that turf too. That ain't happening, man. I think Houston gonna take him. That's my opinion. But hey, that's all I got for y'all today, man. You can rewatch this on obviously YouTube, getting Lions one-on-one live playlist. Or listen to it on Spotify. If you do listen to it on Spotify in the morning, do me that good favor of rating the podcast to help the visibility. Appreciate the love and support. Peace.